Every single second, the pressure piles up. The noise, the pitches, the faces, all promising the same old story dressed in shiny new clothes. You know it. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. Every time that elevator pitch kicks off, you brace yourself, hoping this time it's different. But deep down, you already question. Am I wasting my time again? Because here's the brutal truth. Tons of startup pitches sound good on paper, but you feel it in your gut. Most don't hold up when you probe beneath the surface. It's like everyone's trying to dazzle, but no one dares to really be honest, raw, or real about what it takes to change the game. You've seen the pitches that pull at the heartstrings, the numbers that dazzle, the buzzwords that fly fast. But something's missing. The soul, the real risk, the fire that burns beyond the script. You're hungry, hungrier than ever for that one pitch that doesn't just convince, but shakes your core. That rare startup, not afraid to challenge the rules, to not only promise growth, but to demand transformation, not just to fit the mold, but to break it completely. Because you know, this world doesn't need more mediocrity dressed up as innovation. It needs a revolution in thought, in vision, in action, and the fake freedom of conforming to what's safe, popular, or expected. That's the cage you want no part of anymore. So how can you spot the startup pitch that actually could trick any angel investor? More importantly, how can you spot the pitch that isn't trying to trick you? The rare investor who refuses to be fooled by noise, smoke, and mirrors. First, understand this. The biggest trap any pitch falls into is pretending there's a one-size-fits-all blueprint for success. The startups that make it, they don't follow the script. They dismantle it right in front of you. They don't seek permission. They command attention by embodying a refusal to bow to rules that don't serve their vision. This means when you listen, watch for two things. 1. Raw authenticity. Failures, scars, the ugly parts laid bare. If a founder only shows you the polished story, they're playing a game you can't win. Trust the ones who show their battle wounds and their plans to fight through them anyway. This kind of honesty is magnetic, because it's rare as hell. 2. Watch how deeply the startup understands itself and its space. Not the fluff about disruption or scaling fast. The kind of understanding where you can feel they've been in the trenches, where every move is a calculated personal rebellion against the system that tells them they can't. They don't just talk about changing markets. They're out to redefine what markets even should be. Now here's a shocker that almost no pitch mentions, but that you who are done with the old ways, will recognize immediately. The real secret weapon isn't just a great product or tech or even a market fit. It's the founder's ability to unlearn, to rip apart every assumption that the world handed down as gospel. When an entrepreneur speaks with that edge, you don't just hear an idea, you hear a manifesto. And in that sound, you feel the impending collapse of outdated systems, the start of something new and fierce. This is why every skeptic, every careful investor should ask themselves, is this startup pitching to me, or are they inviting me to join their rebellion? Because the best pitches don't just seek money, they seek a partnership of warriors who reject quiet compliance and vow to do the uncomfortable work of transformation. No pitch that wants easy approval can hold that kind of power. Real power comes from risk, fire, and conviction. It's raw. It's risky. And if you feel anything less than completely intrigued, less than electrified, you probably just heard another pitch that follows the same tired celebrity script. Now imagine a pitch that dares to show what freedom really looks like. A vision not of ease, but of struggle with meaning. A pitch that honors difference and demands you stand not with the masses, but with those few who burn too brightly to fit the mold, those who embody sovereignty, who wear their critical eye like armor, who are patient because they know greatness isn't a sprint, but a slow, fierce battle. This is the pitch that shakes investors awake, because it's a call to arms. It's way more than numbers or market share. It's a declaration that the future belongs to those who won't settle for less, who will seize their liberation from the chains cleverly hidden inside safe investment choices. And here's the deal. The pain you feel watching pitch after pitch, hoping to find something real, that pain is your biggest asset. It means you're awake. You're not fooled by empty promises. You see that the world isn't broken because there's no ambition. It's broken because it rewards those who only play the game by preset rules. But what if, instead of feeling trapped, you tapped into that pain and turned it into a weapon? What if the startups you backed weren't trying to please systems that don't work, but instead repeatedly tore down those systems from the inside? Imagine funding founders who don't just chase safety, but chase fire, who'd rather burn down the old world than live quietly under its shadow. Every pitch that fails to grip you misses this core truth. Unless the founder radiates that refusal to conform, to obey, to settle, it's just noise. But when it's there, that pitch is a spark that threatens to ignite a wildfire. But it goes deeper. Every true rebel startup brings with it a mindset that most can't even speak of, because it threatens everything the system thrives on. Patience so deep it outlasts storms. Absolute selectiveness about who to align with, and the brutal practice of questioning everything, even foundational beliefs others hold dear. Investing in this kind of startup isn't a moment of excitement. It's a lifelong pact. It's not comfort. It's confrontation. Not compliance. It's revolution. Every dollar you put in is spawning a movement, a tear in the fabric of the old, a birth of the new. So, if you're still here, wake up right now to what that means. This obsession you have, this need to find that one pitch that could trick you, is actually a craving for something far more precious, the rare and unfiltered truth of emergence. Hint: the startup that could trick any angel investor is not trying to trick you at all. It's inviting you into a shared mission to unleash something furious and exceptional. The kind of startup pitch that can actually change the game is one that shows you their battle scars, their unlearning, their fierce questionings of what's normal. Break the habit of looking for another formula that promised safety but delivered silence. Instead, chase the story that shatters silence, the pitch that pulls you closer so you feel your own fire burning again. The pitch that makes you forget the status quo was ever an option. Now, why haven't those pitches flooded your inbox yet? Because they're not easy to find. The world wants obedience, the comfortable, the compliant. It rewards mimicry and punishes firebrands. But you're not that investor, are you? No. You're the rare spark, ready to believe not in safety, but in sovereignty, not in passing trends, but in transformation. And here's your unspoken advantage. Once you start investing in those founders who don't just deal in ideas, but in rebellion, the whole dynamic changes. You don't just get a startup. You get a movement. You don't get a business. You get a force that will shake the market and break the cages disguised as opportunity. The question is, are you ready to stop receiving pitches and start hearing a clarion call? Because the next time you listen carefully, you'll detect it in the voice of the founder who's not pitching hope, but promising upheaval. Forget the old world's maps. They've been drawn by the comfortable, the obedient, the forgetful. Instead, seek the startups and founders who wield their individuality like a sword, and invite you to sharpen yours alongside. Together, you don't just invest in a product. You ignite a future no spreadsheet can calculate. And remember, this is no promise of ease. The world you're called to build is messy, fierce, and relentless. But it is fully yours if you choose to seize it. The system trades in illusions of freedom. You trade in real fire. So next time that pitch starts, listen less for the numbers and more for the break in the pattern. Listen for the voice that dares to say, no more. The voice that pulls you out of the noise and into the rare space where true transformation happens. Because for every angel investor done with the old, every founder done begging for a place in the system, there is a pitch that unites you in a pact to become more than just investors or founders, more than titles or systems, more in will, in fire, in sovereignty. Here's the bottom line. Don't wait for that pitch to come to you in plain sight. Seek it in the shadows, in the edges, because the future belongs to the few who burn too bright to fit inside cages disguised as freedom. And when you find it, don't just listen. Join the rebellion anyone else was afraid to fund. Because what mistakes the many as trickery, we know as the sound of freedom screaming louder than conformity ever can.